Traditions. The alarm clock started to blare. Anthony absolutely hated waking up, especially on weekends. Shoot! He had waken up 20 minutes later than he was supposed to. He sat up and stretched his tall, athletic body, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. He could hear his parents downstairs already up and moving about. They're going to start their worship of ancestors soon. Tony absolutely hated that tradition. It was so dumb and stupid looking. The smell of incense always made him sick to the stomach. The monotone chanting made Tony want to smash all the idols and pictures of his ancestors. Tony slowly flipped the covers off of him and slid out of bed. He had been up all night without his parents knowing, chatting with friends and playing video games, and had barely slept at all. Tony dragged himself to the bathroom and started to brush his teeth. He gripped the bumpy handle of his blue and gray toothbrush and began to drift off into his thoughts. He knew that his parents were very strict about not using technology at night, but he didn't really care. His parents had way too many dumb rules and were too overprotective. Why do they always need to be micromanaging everything that I do? Can't they just leave me be? Snapping himself out of the chance, Tony wiped off his face and went to get breakfast. Mumbling something that sounded like good morning, he brushed past his dad, who came up from the table to greet him. Interesting, Tony thought to himself as he chewed his big, juicy Chinese bun. Right now and before bed are the only times where I actually see my parents. Normally, I just go off to school, finish my homework at the internet cafe near school, then hang out with friends until sundown. His parents had attempted to enforce a curfew, but Tony had broken it so many times that they couldn't do much about it anymore. He'd come home around 6 o'clock, eat dinner, then disappear into his room again. Sitting there, digesting his Shengzhen baozi, Tony thought back to when he was small and life was all good. He had been very close to his mom and dad. When did that change? It must have been around middle school. He had switched schools during 7th grade, and that had been very traumatizing to Tony. Some tensions had started to build up between his parents and him. The reason for this dissension was the group of friends. His parents just didn't approve of them at all. Tony didn't understand what their problem with his new friends were, but that had been quite damaging to the relationship between him and his parents. Now, in the second year of high school, Tony would just feel awkward whenever he was around his parents. In his head, he was always anticipating his parents to reprimand him without any notice. Tony wished that the relationship could be fixed, but it was all his parents' fault. They just didn't or couldn't understand him at times, or were both so stubborn about their old traditions. At this moment, Tony's younger brother walked into the kitchen. Luke was a bright young boy. Tony loved him very much and was quite close with him. Yet, Luke was another reason why he was so weird with his parents. His mom loved to compare other kids with him. Tony absolutely hated that. She was constantly talking to him about how so-and-so's child was already doing some high-level math or in some AP English program. Though he loved learning and had an easy A in school, Tony just didn't think learning was that important of an issue. He felt no urge at all to be the extreme top student. That was, however, what his mom wanted. Her comparing usually didn't bother him that much, as that was what Asian parents do. But what really made him angry was when she compared him to Luke. He himself had nothing against Luke, as he was a great person and a brother, but it was his mother that made him mad. Luke was what can be called a gift genius or gifted youth. Though he was around 13, Luke was already preparing college applications. This made Tony's mom compare Luke to Tony a whole lot. Oh well. I guess there's not much I can do to fix things between my parents and I. Whatever. Tony sighed. His parents have started worship. Damn it. Tony left the table and nodded at Luke and went upstairs to his room to start gaming again. Tony slowly cracked the back door open and slid inside the house. Was it really 8 o'clock already? It sure didn't feel like it. Tony heard the muffled footsteps of his mom and brother on the upper floor. Silently, Tony wished that they would all be too focused on packing for college to notice him in his absence. His hopes were terribly dashed when he felt the hard grip and cold voice of his father, just as he was about to enter his room. Son, where have you been? What have you been up to? Tony spun around slowly with guilt in his eyes that quickly became indignation and rebellion. Minding my own business, school stuff. Are you sure about that? How many times have I told you that you are not allowed to hang out with those friends, especially not without asking, or if you're staying out so late? Well, you never let me do anything with them. That's because these friends are not the right, good friends for you. Tony glanced away from his dad to the hallway, then at his closed door behind him, trying to find something to say. Millions of thoughts flew through his head. He hoped his brother couldn't hear him and his dad talking. Thinking of his brother made him suddenly sad and nostalgic for his brother, who was going to college and leaving home. He really wished that he had spent more time with him. How had his relationship with his parent become so weird and bad? It was all his parents' fault, thought Tony. Tony decided to end the conversation right then and not continue arguing. He quickly mumbled sorry and then jumped into his room. On the other side of the door, Tony's dad sighed and turned away from Tony's shut door now in front of him. He started to head back to Luke's room to help him finish up with all the packing and cleaning he did. In his head, Tony's dad sometimes just really didn't understand his son. What was he thinking? Luke leaving home for college was already hard enough to deal with. Now he had this problem with Tony. Meanwhile, Tony was having a mental struggle of his own. His thoughts raged through his mind like a tsunami. He knew that he should probably go and apologize to his parents. That was what he planned to do. But what he was struggling with was that today was October 11th, coming out day. Tony felt that today was probably the best day to tell his parents, as he would probably not get a good chance again. He had already told his friends and brother, but not yet his mom and dad. However, the current state that they were in was not the best time to tell them. Tony also had no way of knowing what his parents' reaction would be. He had a small nagging feeling in the back of his mind that would be a negative response. Tony pushed that thought away and focused himself. Man, deep breath. Here goes nothing. Tony opened the door and stepped out of his room. He walked towards his brother's room. With each step, his resolve strengthened. He peeped his head inside his brother's large room. Mom, Dad, sorry about today. I really should have called you and informed you that I was staying out. I guess I did hang out a bit too long tonight. Really sorry. His dad replied with, It's okay, son. Just don't let it happen again. We gave you a phone for a reason. Don't make us question that decision or our trust, but we forgive you. Tony was grateful that his brother had decided to go outside on the balcony connected to their room in order to give his parents and him some privacy. Yet, Luke was still there for him, as Tony sees Luke's face against the window, signaling good job to him. Thanks, there's another thing. He took a deep breath and tugged at the bottom of his shirt. Well, I just want to let you guys know that I am queer. His mom's face instantly darkened at the word, while his dad's face became a mask of confusion. I'm not sure if I'm trying to identify with bi, pan, gay, or something else, but I'm just not straight. I'm still trying to figure things out. Yeah. Dead silence fills the room. His dad was the first to speak. Wait, what do you mean, queer? Tony glanced nervously at his unresponsive mom, who had crossed her arms and wasn't looking at him. What it means is that my sexual orientation is not straight. I may like guys, too. His dad's expression was a mess as he realized what Tony was saying. His mouth tried to form words while his mind raced ahead. Tony's parents both exploded at the same time. The next 5 minutes were filled with angry reproaches by Tony's mom and dad at the same time. Tony himself just stared down at his feet, tears slowly starting to form on his eyes. He tried to blink them away. What, are you out of your mind? That's disgusting, grunted his parents. But that is who I am. Can't you guys accept that? You're the ones who are always telling me to be yourself and to be smart. This is outrageous. Do you know what dishonor you bring to your family? If you want to stay in the family, you'll take back what you just said and not do this. Otherwise, get out. Tony sprinted back to his room. Tears finally started to pour from his eyes. Damn it. Screw my life. He should have known something like this would happen, but he wasn't going to give himself up either. Tony felt like he had to stay true to himself and follow what his heart told him to do and be. Hours after the ordeal, Tony started to wake from his tear-stained pillow to find his door slowly creak open. His brother Luke slipped in like a ninja. You want something, Luke? It's like 2 a.m. Just wanted to talk to you alone. That night, the brothers gave each other comfort, bonded, and communicated with each other, heart to heart. Farewell, Luke, D.D. Good luck in college. I'll see you again, good girl. Tony, stay strong. Tony woke up quite early. Saturday morning. It had been only 2 weeks since Luke left, but Tony already missed him. Today, however, was not the day to be sad and mourn Luke. Tony didn't have the time to do that today. He had something very special and important to which he needed to give his full devotion today. He'd been planning to stay for quite a while, easily half a year. What was so special about today was that it was Tony's girlfriend's birthday. They had been dating for almost a year, ever since 10th grade started. Tony dressed quickly and made sure he looked good. He sprinted down the stairs and yelled to his parents, I'm going out. I have some school thing that I need to do with my project partner. I'll be gone the whole day. Tony had been avoiding his parents recently. After the night when he came out to them, things had never been weirder. They hadn't thrown him out of the house, but they had stopped doing a lot of normal things that they would do for him. Tony and his parents never talked about that subject again, though they all understood that no one's going to give up their way of thinking. What, Tony? Shouted his mom from her room. Bye. No, stop. Not so fast. You said you were going out with us to a college prep session today. Tony immediately recognized the familiar condescending tone that came from his mom. I have something more important to do. Tony swore silently under his breath. He had completely forgotten about the session. He couldn't just ditch his plans, though. His girlfriend was probably the most important person to him. Shoot, what was he going to do? Tony's mom slowly came down the stairs and said to him, Sorry, you can't go today, but this is extremely important. I can't miss it. Well, what is it that you're doing anyways? It's just schoolwork, project, and stuff. What school activity would be that important that you can't attend a college preparation conference? Tony knew that he needed to tell his mom the truth, otherwise she wouldn't believe him. Fine. The truth is, I'm doing a special party for my girlfriend. Girlfriend? Yeah, why are you so surprised? Like 75% of the people at school have been in a relationship. Don't you know this? Tony had never told his parents about her, mostly because they had already disapproved about all his friends, so he didn't want to make her a target for his parents. He also had felt that they would already be really naggy and bothersome about this and be a great source of annoyance to him, so he had decided to just not tell them. Subconsciously, he felt that his parents already knew, as they saw him with her a good amount, and were fine with it, as his parents never mentioned anything. I've heard something about it, but I thought those were like the failure kids who don't do well at school, or don't have a good life. But my own son? Dating? What? Tony's mom's mind couldn't race fast enough to form words to say. Wait, what? How could this be happening? Well, I am, so can I go meet her now? Said Tony hopefully. No, don't you understand? You're way too young and unprepared for this kind of thing. You're banned from ever seeing her again. Break up with her right now. I don't care how. Just do it. Tony saw the confusion in his mom's eyes slowly turn to outrage. Oh, whoa there, Mom. It doesn't work that way. I just can't break up with her instantly. I'm not too young. You don't even know what love means. You have no idea what is dating. So immature, she muttered. Yes, I do know what love is. What we share is real. It's true. I'm mature and know what those relationships are. I know that people do date just for popularity and personal benefits, but what we have is different. It's something rare and genuine. Defiance and indignation ran strong in Tony's voice. Did I raise my son to be ashamed to us Chinese? I will not have you hang around girls and dating them. No, this ends now. Tony's mom's nose flared and her eyes sparkled. She knew this had gone too far. Please, Mom, let me go today and I'll end things. Just let this be my last time together with her, okay? Tony backed off of his anger and begged his mom. Fine, but no more, understand? With that, Tony sprinted out the door onto his bike. He gritted his teeth at how stubborn and old-fashioned his parents' belief were. He soon forgot all his troubles and promises, though, as he entered into the calming, peaceful presence of his beautiful, enchanting angel. It can be said that his heart promptly stopped. It had been 2 years since Luke left for college, and 2 years since the time Tony came out and told his parents about him dating. Things with his parents were similar as before, only worse. Luke had called them the night before telling them he was coming home for Christmas break. This was Luke's first time home in a while due to his extremely rigorous and busy schedule. Though Tony hadn't talked with his parents about missing Luke or vice versa, they all knew that they all really missed not having Luke around at home anymore. Tony was still very firm about his identity. His parents were still against the whole notion of not being a straight person, but they had started giving him little bits, seeing that nothing was going to change Tony. Tony had continued dating his girlfriend despite the knowledge that his parents opposed it. He stayed in secret. Tony had become a lot closer with his girlfriend. He lied to his parents by telling them he had broken up with her to appease them. The family had tried a dozen times to patch things up in the relationship, but things just never really worked out. Tony's mom and dad sat in the kitchen reading the newspaper and watching the news. Luke's flight from Stanford to their home in Florida was due in around 20 minutes. Tony had planned a small welcome party type thing for his parents, for his brother, and was out buying a cake. Mom, Dad, here's Luke's cake. Oh, good. They were still awkward with one another. The thought of Luke coming home kept Tony and his parents from having any argument. They sat quietly, doing their own things, waiting. Half an hour passed, an hour passed, an hour and a half. Tony and his parents started to get worried. This was very strange. They had checked the flight schedule and it said that the plane had already landed. This was very unlikely, as he had always been a very punctual person. He started to worry. Without a warning, the home phone started to ring. Tony and his parents all immediately jumped up and lunged for the phone. His mom got it first. Tony watched as his mom's face went from one of anticipation to disbelief to shock and then to horror. Tony's head started to race as he tried to think of all the possibilities and reasons for this. Mom, what's going on? Is everything fine? Added his dad. Tony's mom hung up and promptly collapsed. Tony's dad rushed over as Tony's mom started to wail. What is it, Mom? It's Luke. That was the hospital, she whispered in between sobs. Luke got into an accident on his way home from the airport. His taxi got hit by another vehicle really badly. The hospital said Luke's condition is bad. Tony's mom exploded in another fit of tears. Tony felt like fainting himself. How could this be happening? 1 day ago, he had talked with Luke, alive and well, over the phone, and now this. Help! Tony exploded as his head couldn't hold the millions of thoughts racing around. The next 24 hours for Tony and his family were hell. After the phone call, they all piled into the car and sped to the hospital. They were greeted by grim doctors who blocked them from seeing Luke, who was under surgery. After hours of operation, the doctors wheeled Luke out only to head to another more advanced surgery station. Tony only had a quick glance, but what he saw scared him to death. His mom and dad all crowded around together and hugged. They waited anxiously outside the operating room for what seemed like years. At last, the lead surgeon came out and shook his head slowly once. I'm sorry. Nothing that we did worked. We tried everything. Nothing could save him. That was a very bad high-speed crash. The patient's last words were meant for you, his family, I believe. Stay strong and reunite in remembrance of me. Tony and his mom and his dad wept. The whole family spent a month recovering from the pain and sorrow of losing Luke. Now, half a year later, they were finally back as they were when Tony was young, or at least as well as Tony could remember. It had been forever since Tony had been at peace with his mom and dad. After everyone in the family had taken a step back and considered things, Tony and his parents had a good talk. Mom and Dad, I am Corinne. I'm dating a very special and wonderful someone. These things aren't going to change. Your father and I, as your parents, believe that many of the Chinese traditions that our family carries are very important and meaningful. We would like you to carry on with some of these traditions. With these thoughts in mind and as a basis, the family communicated and worked things out. They agreed with and compromised on some things, while others they rejected. Tony was now finally at peace with his parents. Life is interesting, thought Tony. My brother, we've done it. We've patched and mended for our relationship. That's all that is important. Luke's last word rang over and over in Tony's mind. Thanks to you, Dee Dee. Thanks to you.